I am a Reva, and I was taught how to pray Salah.
That means every single time I pray,
the person who told me gets the reward.
5 times a day, from Fajr to Isha.
If you want to support someone like me in learning Salah,
Then sponsor 10 people for just £100.
remember the Prophet, peace be upon him, said,
Charity does not decrease wealth. Click the button and donate now.
Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to another episode of Smile to Jannah. Okay, just going to start the video. So guys, Tucker Carlson interviewed a nun from Palestine who's born in America. This woman has served quite a lot of time in Palestine. Tucker Carlson has platformed her. The video has crossed 1 million in one day, and you know Tucker Carlson, who has a conservative audience, so for them to be exposed to a Christian nun living in Palestine and some of the stuff that she was saying, I think this is a breakthrough and a big deal. The video is 1.5 hours long. I have found the best bits that I found. Obviously the stories I can't include in this short video, so if you want to watch the whole thing, I will leave a link in the description. This is a reaction video. I will have to pause and play just so I don't get flagged for copyright. Let's go.
A Christian who lives in Bethlehem cannot go to Jerusalem, to the Holy Sepulchre, without a permit by Israel, and they don't usually give those permits, especially now.
A Christian can't.
No, without permission from Israel.
Okay, for the people that are familiar with the Palestine situation, this is something that is absolutely standard. Yeah, but the reason Tucker Carlson is really highlighting this point, I'm sure he knows it already, is because, as he will highlight, being Christians, you would have thought Israelis would have a better relationship with them.
But if you're a Christian in Palestine, which is where most of the activities of the life of Christ are, Bethlehem, Jerusalem, the Mount of Olives.
This is very important because she highlights all the different places of significance in Palestine whereby more Christians are attracted to Palestine as opposed to Israel.
Jericho, Jacob's Well, that's all within Palestine. And so there's many, that's the predominance of the Christian population there. And they're treated with the effects of the occupation.
There you go. In other words, they're treated like the, Palestinians. It doesn't matter who you are. Yeah. And she says this several times, that just because you're Christian doesn't mean you're going to be treated differently. Whatever you hear of Muslim Palestinians getting treated like, that's it.
I keep reading that the Christian population in the region has declined dramatically since Israel became a state in 1948.
Right.
And I'm not quite sure why.
The whole issue is that Israel has continued to grow and think that they can dominate the Christian areas.
Okay, I wanted to just keep the initial bit where he talks about the population decline. However, her answer, I think, is very insightful in the sense that she's pretty much saying Israel just wants to expand, grow. No one's really stopping it, so they kind of do whatever they want.
You would think Christians would get a special pass or dispensation because the United States is the great patron and it's a Christian country.
I have a very
There you go. Yeah, that was a point that I made.
hard time understanding why someone who calls himself a Christian and then gives money to support the building of settlements.
Yeah, and then she goes on to say it's stolen land, so it goes against fundamental Christian values because stolen land.
We are closed off in Bethany from going to our convent in Jerusalem because of the wall that was built on Palestinian land, on Christian land. There's a Christian home for boys that the Israelis just took over and cut up to make part of the wall.
So apparently she goes on with her story that, this is very problematic for them. It prevents movement and all sorts of things. Now she's going to talk about her taking this issue to Congress people in America and her experience there.
A few people that were sympathetic. But overall, no. And I even felt the sense when I was talking to people that like I went to a meeting where there were a few aides there of different Congress people, right, not just in one office, and just felt as if there was someone there watching what he was saying or doing.
The APAC guy, that's it. The APAC guy was watching you, yeah? Let's be honest. This is an American Christian woman who wants to speak to Congress about something happening to Christians, but yet she feels unable to. She even says that she went to some offices that, wanted an email, and after hearing what she wanted to discuss, they just weren't interested. What on earth is going on?
Why punish the Christians for Islamic terror?
Because I don't think it's Islamic terror that's taking place in the first place. I think we have to disabuse ourselves of that notion that this is a battle between Muslim and Jew.
Yeah, she goes on to say it's to do with settler colonialism. Yeah, and she doesn't see Muslims like that.
I know people who wanted to try to go to school in America and couldn't get out of Gaza. Had a Fulbright scholarship and weren't able to leave.
You mean couldn't get out?
Israel didn't give them permission. So what kind of freedom is that?
So when you hear in these debates and interviews, we left Gaza so long ago and this and that. Well, this is somebody that lives in that land telling you they don't have permission to leave. Yeah, it's a prison, open air prison.
But now we're seeing genocide on steroids.
You're American, I should say.
Yes, I'm born in America. Yeah, lived in America.
The G word. Even she used the G word, ladies and gentlemen.
So you were a nun in a majority Muslim town, a Christian nun.
Yep.
In your habit, I assume.
And which also was to an advantage because pious Muslims are not jihadists, the ones that I know. I'm not saying other parts of the world that may be the case, but in Palestine, it's simply not the case. Or Syria or Lebanon or Iraq.
So that is in line with the clip that I mentioned before. This is her experience. And she's saying, I don't see them like that, to be honest.
And so me being dressed like this was just like many of the women there, right? So they kind of respected that. There's the same sort of conservative culture. There's the same sort of idea that we're both have some same basic values.
Exactly.
Now, these Christians of wrong believe that they need to rebuild the temple as part of their plan. So they believe...
So just to interrupt, she actually says that their belief is heretical. Yeah, I took that clip out. I thought I could just mention it.
That the current state of Israel, which has nothing to do with the biblical Israel, is needed to be built up so that then somehow they can restore and build that temple, fulfill an obligation of the law, and the price of that, they're willing to forego the compassion that Christ talked about and allow people to be starved.
There you go. I think this is very indicative of what is going on. Rather, I should say, it's something that Christians have to answer for. Like, this is your belief. This is the belief of the higher echelons of Christian America that are, the Christian Zionists that are pushing this agenda. And like she mentioned, at what cost? At the cost of a genocide taking place. Yeah? Why? Because, again, you believe your holy book says this will happen, referring to the Christians, because we already know what the Jews say about their Old Testament. Yeah, they're the chosen ones, that it's their land 4,000 years ago, whatever the case may be. So I think this definitely should be discussed with Christians that get a free pass when it comes to this. Yeah, because they are part and parcel of a big genocide taking place in our time.
I have a young man that we just helped come to America a year and a half ago who lives north of Hebron, a Christian, and his family, he went to school a half hour north in Shepherd's Field. We wanted to bring him to America because he was at that age where you look the wrong way at a soldier and it's possibility of getting shot.
This is normal life there.
Totally.
Wait, the settlers, you worried the settlers would bomb the school?
They attempted to.
Why?
There were a couple occasions.
My God.
Palestinians.
But kids.
Doesn't matter. It's doesn't matter at all.
Doesn't matter at all. She does this several times throughout the 1.5 hour interview. She's very jovial. I really like her. I like her character, and I like her frankness and her honesty. And she says also that she fears for her safety, especially doing an interview like this. I honestly don't know what's going to happen to her because this interview is big. So talking about the settlers, the people that are being funded by the Christian Zionists to attack Christians. The irony, ladies and gentlemen, the irony.
You know a lot of Christians in the Holy Land. How many support the government of Israel? Do you know?
The Palestinians within Israel?
Yeah, Christians support the government of Israel.
I don't know that they would be any that really would.
Yeah. None. And then he goes on to ask, because there's an impression in America that they do. No, they don't.
From the river to the sea, right? Where did that statement come from? Look at the charter of Likud, the party of Netanyahu. They very clearly say from the Jordan to the Mediterranean is going to be Israel.
This woman's serious.
And really from the Nile to the Euphrates.
This woman is
which
informed.
means going into Iraq, into the edges of Egypt.
And then she goes on to say, well, no wonder we had to bomb Iraq because it's part of Israel's vision.
Graffiti put on walls and sprayed on Jesus a monkey. 2013.
Let me play that again. I might have spoken over it.
Graffiti put on walls and sprayed on Jesus a monkey. 2013. On a church. Yeah, that was right.
Guys, Muslims are not allowed to say that. It's blasphemous. You get punished under Sharia law if you were to say something like this. A'udhu billah.
Christians, priests with crucifixes around their necks getting spit on in Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
Are those real?
Yes, and I mean that's happened before.
And who has it happened to?
Do you know anyone who's been spit on? Any Christians who've been spit on?
Me.
You've been spit on?
Of course, yeah.
What do you mean, of course? That's disgusting.
Absolutely. Tucker Carlson's reaction is absolutely on point.
Well, but that's the least of it. That's the least of it.
Well, I think that encapsulates what a lot of these Palestinians are going through. Like, spitting, we'll take that any day over bombs. Yeah, but getting spat on, that's nasty, bro. That's weird.
But again, I'm saying this as a perspective, from the perspective of someone who lives in a majority Christian country that's paying for all of this.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Often, just like
An American citizen was beaten to death
by settlers.
And no one was arrested?
No, never happens.
Never happens. Not never happened. I.e. referring to that one case, never happened. Yeah, she is dropping bars.
Eventually we were able to move, but the scorn they have for Americans is really something else.
This is very important.
All the scorn for Americans?
That's not the only incident where I've seen something like that, where they mock America.
Mock America? America pays for the whole thing.
Well,
billions.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, you would have thought that was the case, but when people go there on their trips, you've just got an Israeli tour guide that takes you to the places that they want you to see, not you get to see. It's what they're doing with the media right now. If they're not bombing them, what they're doing is they're not even allowing them to go in and have a look. What are they hiding? Well, now we know.
No, they don't have any love for Americans.
Really?
Yeah, well, that was my perception.
I think most Americans would be surprised to learn that.
Yeah, it's about time that it changes.
Why do you think there's scorn for Americans in a country supported by Israel? I mean, supported by America.
I think that's just a part of the arrogance of the country.
Oh, this is what a lot of people say. The arrogant. Even when their guys are on these news shows debating, the arrogance in their speech, the entitlement. Oh, we should be allowed to do this.
The St. Porphyrius Church from the 3rd century was bombed. We also have in the Orthodox...
How did a Christian church get bombed?
Because it's part of Palestinians.
Yeah, she said this a lot. Anytime Tucker Carlson was shocked, she goes, well, part of Palestine. So, you know what I mean?
So you can't make a mistake. And Christians through...
But you don't think that was an accident?
No, nothing's an accident.
Oh, Tucker. Poor naive Tucker.
And then you just said that's the 3rd holiest site in
Islam. Of course. Yeah. This would be a dark day.
They're talking about Al-Aqsa Mosque and how the Christians and the Jews want to build a temple where the 3rd holiest site of the Muslims is. So he's just asked what's going to happen.
Anybody.
So then what would happen if you blew up the 3rd holiest site in Islam?
Well, you could probably answer that better than me. I would ignite a great conflict in the world.
I just want to say this out loud because people sort of blithely talk about it.
What we're really coming to, and I think that's the problem with the Christian Zionists is that what is your end game here?
Yeah.
Well, that's
their belief tells them that's okay. We want to have this 3rd world war because we're going to be taken away.
There you go. That was the point that I mentioned, that Christian Zionists need to be brought into this conversation, frankly. Yeah. And this woman has given us many reasons why they are as responsible as the Israelis, because she said in another clip that without American support, Israel can't do anything. Yeah, as long as America is with them, it's a problem. So ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to keep this video as short as possible for those people that can't watch the whole thing. Hopefully these highlights were of benefit. So let's leave it right there. Until next time. Assalamu alaikum.